Who am I? Now that I think about it, I really do not know. Let us start with the question of my name. At home, my parents call me Mao Mao, the nickname they gave me on my birth. For the first 15 years of my life, most of my teachers and classmates call me Jiaqi, the name written on my passport. Li is my family name, one of the oldest in China. Months before my birth, my parents and grandparents screened through the dictionary to pick 2 characters for my given name. They chose Jia, meaning goodness, and Qi, meaning auspiciousness. 2.5 years ago, my family moved here thanks to my father's work, and I have been called in various ways ever since. Perhaps the most frequent question people ask me is, how do I pronounce your name? Jiaqi, Jack, and Jiaqi. I am called most frequently this way now. It has been 2.5 years. Today I wish to share with you the story of a Chinese boy from Shanghai living in Düsseldorf, Germany. And to start with, let me tell you about the world I came from. That was 7 years ago. In Shanghai, I lived with my parents and my grandparents. My grandparents are strict observers of Chinese traditions. My parents, however, are keen on Western culture. As a result, Mom made tiramisu and Grandma made mooncakes are equally popular in our household. My junior high school is Shanghai United International School, although I and 30 other classmates in my homeroom, as well as 3 other homerooms in my grade, studied Chinese curriculum. Our academic life revolved around 3 elements. We learned with pen and paper. We have textbooks issued by Shanghai's educational department. Our teachers would choose the extra exercise books and worksheets for us, assign a couple pages each day, collect them the next day's morning, mark them, and return them to us. From time to time, my school organized fun activities for all of us to participate in. This, for example, is a drama I wrote and directed in grade 8 about Qingming Festival for my school's English Drama Fest. However, in grade 9, fun time ends and serious studying begins. One cannot understand a modern Chinese youth without knowing this part. You see, for a kid like me, the 2 most important events in my academic life are 2 exams. The Zhongkao in grade 9, whose score, if high enough, you get to go to a high school of your choice, and the Gaokao in grade 12, which in a way that resembles the IB exams, dictates your university entrance. These 2 events are viewed by most Chinese students as 2 watersheds of their lives, and they are by no means easy. And so grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 are spent for learning and problem solving and test preparations. It was right after finishing the Zhongkao that I learned of the news to come to Düsseldorf. And 3 months later, in September 2014, I started school at ISC. You know how we learned with pen and paper in China? As a result of that, every time I get closer to a computer, I get habitually excited. It is a cool and remote piece of tech. And so you should probably understand my feelings when on my first day here in science class, I see my classmates pull out their laptops and start participating in interactive demonstrations about antibiotics on Doodle Learn. In technology class, I am asked to either use Adobe Photoshop or Premium to create an advertisement for my classmate. Awe, excitement, and fear. In MUN, I was asked to do a precision paper for the Marshall Islands. What's the Marshall Islands? What's a precision paper? You see, in China, I do 60-word English essays, nothing like a research paper. And so the difference between Eastern and Western education was evident from the start. Both requires dedication, but it is books and worksheets on one side, and projects and research on the other. The most exciting part of life at ISD, however, was community and service. What can a new Chinese student bring to a school like ISD? He stammers when he speaks English. He's learning to write his first emails. Can he teach Chinese? Has he the credentials? Will people be interested? But as I thought further, I realized that as one learns a foreign language, it is not only the vocabulary or grammar, it is the willingness to understand and to communicate, to know how the others think, and to let the others know how we think that matters. Beyond being multilingual, it is the love and understanding of the traditions and practices, the cultures of different parts of the world that makes one truly international. And so I initiated the Chinese Cultural Club of Long. Long is how the Chinese pronounces dragon, and this is its character. Months later, the Chinese Cultural Club would turn into the International Cultural Club. What we realized was that in addition to focusing on one culture, there is nothing more meaningful than to explore and promote cultural diversity. At first, our activities are small in scale, but interactive. We will rent a classroom or a room in the gym, and we will invite the students to come and explore cultural themes such as Mid-Autumn Festival or Kung Fu. It was later that we figured out how to invite the whole school to participate in promoting cultural diversity. Each culture has its own unique fun facts. For example, there is a river called the Never Never Creek in Australia, or that the shortest airline flight in the world lasts for only 2 minutes, and it connects 2 islands in the UK. And so we invited ISD students to design their own stickers, and we published eventually 79 of them in our campus. So, that was community and service. What about the other projects that once inspired fear and excitement in my heart? Computers have become friendly tools. I learned video editing and 3D printing. I have learned to accept the limits of my own knowledge. That I know only little about the world, but I have also learned to not lose my heart. That as long as I try my best, all will somehow work out. With help from my family, ISD, and by immersing myself in an English-speaking environment, I was finally able to speak fluently, both at school and behind the podiums in Model United Nations. The way I see it, the key to communication is not only vocabulary and grammar, but more importantly, the willingness to communicate, the willingness to share one's beliefs and to know another human being's heart and mind. Now, all is well. There's one last thing that I want to share with you. The difference between the East and the West is a mystery faced by many, I as well. But I think I can offer part of the answer. it is undeniable that Benjamin Franklin was one of the greatest practitioners of Western morality. In his autobiography, he recorded the practicing of certain virtues. Each week, he would try his best to not violate against one virtue, and so in a year, he can practice each virtue 4 times. Let us compare Benjamin Franklin's understanding of diligence with that of Confucius, who laid the foundation of Chinese and Eastern morality. Benjamin Franklin defines in his 13 virtues industry as lose no time, be always employed in something useful, cut off all unnecessary actions. In the first chapter of Confucius' book, The Analect, the chapter was titled To Learn, the whole chapter dedicated to learning. The first quote is, "To study and to revise frequently, is it not joyous? A friend come visit from far, is it not delightful? To be misunderstood and not agitate, is it not gracious?" And there are many more after that. So you see the difference? Benjamin Franklin started from an ideal and compared every aspect of his actions to that ideal to see whether it is correct or not. However, Confucius did this through the understanding and memorization of single actions and events, and through the accumulation of experiences, attain perfection. Ideals and details, idealism and realism, that marks the difference between the East and the West. The more I come to reflect on my past, the more I realize that all this cannot be without Chinese culture and the Chinese language. With its multitude of characters and its uniquely flexible grammar, the Chinese language is unmatched in that it can accurately and comprehensively preserve the beauty and thinking of a foreign language in translations. I speak and communicate mostly in English, but I cannot comprehend, either intellectually or emotionally, without Chinese. British scientist Fred Hoyle once said that once a photograph of the Earth taken from outside is available, an idea as powerful as any other in the history of mankind will be let loose. And as said by Margaret Thatcher, that idea is our shared inheritance on Earth. Above all, we are one race, sharing the blood of our ancestors. Let us comprehend more, criticize less, collaborate more, isolate less, love more, resent less, and rejoices in sharing the sweet soil of the blue planet. Thank you.